And I know a lot of us parents, too, are scratching our brains on ways to keep our kids maybe off those digital devices and more outside doing some fun things. But while they do spend their time online, we want to make sure that we keep them safe. And joining us from Hattiesburg today is Miss Jennifer Clark. She is a mother whose children use online apps to communicate with friends and classmates. And she's got some resources for us to use to keep them safe. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing well, but it can't be without a hurricane, without, number one, asking how are things in the Pine Belt.
We dodged a bullet, and I feel very thankful that we did. Very sad for those that didn't, but I feel like we were very lucky.
We were lucky, and I know, too, just by knowing you personally and looking on your Facebook feed, I think your dad may have been a lineman as you were growing up, or you have a connection to our unsung heroes.
Yes, I'm very passionate about my support for linemen. They just go above and beyond in disaster.
Well, we want to make sure they get their job, able to get their job and know how grateful we are, because that way we can get back online and then start fighting with our kids again about all their tablet time and device time, which is actually, just the world that we live in. Sometimes we want to blame it on post-pandemic or since the shutdown and all those things that our kids' times on these digital devices have increased. But I think that's just an excuse for what was going on already. It just brought more attention to how much of their free time they're spending on them. And then sadly, you need to keep them safe. Not everyone online is got their best interest at heart. So when did you start sort of figuring out the tools out there to help with your children?
Well, my kids started communicating online. I didn't want to start social media exactly, but we started doing Facebook Kids Messenger was the first thing because it seems really safe and it seems, I can see exactly what's going on. That's kind of where I started. But then, as they started, now they're virtual, they're hybrid in school, and they use so many pieces of technology from apps. At least 10 or 15 different things every day when we're doing virtual with school. So not just communicating with their friends, but they're doing stuff for education, and then they're just doing stuff for fun. And I kind of get overwhelmed with it. I don't know. There's so many different things you can do to keep your kids safe, but I was overwhelmed. I know the things I've accidentally found online, and so I kind of stumbled upon some resources Facebook has, and they have a ton of information on how to keep your kids safe online, and not just with apps, but also some of the educational tools they're using, all the different things. But from keeping your kids safe, but also how to talk to them about what they're doing. And then also keeping them safe from things like bullying. So it's a lot, but it really did. I find it very helpful.
Jennifer, how old is your children? I know you have two girls. How old's the oldest?
We have, she will be soon, within a month, 12, and then the youngest will be 8.
So there at that prime time, prime age, where you feel as a parent that most of their communication's most innocent, but right. You start to realize that in this digital world that can turn south quick, so to speak. So when you were over at the Facebook Child Safety Hub, which I was looking at, and as a parent, and I feel like there's a lot of parents listening to Good Things who have kids of that middle school, 8 to 12 sort of year old age that is using that Messenger Kids specifically. I know that's real popular because you can, as a parent, feel like you have a little bit more control. But I don't think they realize that this safety hub is there. So what are some of the things that you've used to sort of monitor what at least your 12-year-old's doing?
Well, to be honest, a lot of the stuff I didn't even dawn on me. I was worried about what they were going to see. That's where I was worried. But then as I delved into this safety hub here on Facebook, you can find one, safety and security, maybe they're going to go into something that therefore makes their device risky for some sort of attack or whatever. And so I didn't even think about that. So it will walk you through settings in your privacy and your security and all your settings, so that you're making sure. We give them these phones or give them these devices and just sometimes say here because we're busy. I'm so busy, but we forget to go in and set the settings up, to keep them safe and to keep things private, because a lot of kids don't understand what privacy means, So you can go in and do that, but it walks you through that. It's really handy. That's just one of the things that's on there.
Well, and I see too the digital literacy, which I feel like and again, we're talking about here on Good Things, keeping your kids safe, particularly I think with that Facebook Messenger app, which I feel like has gotten really big since the pandemic for sure.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that your kids don't know the words that you're trying, like what is privacy or what is a stranger in terms of on the internet that's asking to be your friend. I think walking through some of these resources to at least have these conversations with our kids and trying to not just assume that they're safe there, but to have those, that dialogue and ask them, do you know who's creating content? Do you know who's asking to be your friend? Because to an 8-9-year-old, when someone just says, "Can I be your friend?" Sure. I mean, I think we lose. It's just gray area. We haven't had to walk through this as parents yet before. And so here we are. And so we're trying to sort of, figure that out, or also just blatantly describe what does bullying look like online to your kids so they can say, "Oh, well, that's what they were doing to me." Right? Instead of just being in the playground where that normally would happen. It's just a hard time to be a parent, Jennifer, right?
It is. It is overwhelming, and we don't have to have all the resources. And that's another thing, like moms and dads and grandparents. I know a lot of grandparents are sitting with their kids doing virtual with them, and they may not be comfortable with the technology themselves. And so to say you've got to monitor all of this, but these resources are here for all of us, and it gives us like words to use with our kids. Actual wording to start the conversation. It's so helpful, especially those of us who are super busy. It's easy to follow information, but like things you were saying about friending my friend or bullying. In an in-person world, we're always telling my kids, or I tell my kids, be a friend, be a friend. But then we forget to say, well, online, you don't want to be a friend. We don't mean to be rude, but no, you don't want to be a friend with this person that you don't know. So it changes everything when you go online, and all of this stuff is here for us to help us keep our kids safe. And as they get older, the bullying will start. I'm pretty sure that it's there waiting for them. And so they have to be aware of, how to bring that to your attention and let you know about it, not hide it, because as they get older, you want them to be able to tell you things as they, get older and use different tools.
And I think, too, parents need to give themselves a little bit of grace, but also their kids grace. We're trying to figure out what this new normal sort of looks like. I know putting your head in the sand when it comes to the digital devices or just the digital connection isn't the right way either, Jennifer, because, we're definitely, and every family's different, delaying maybe social media specifically, or delaying, the use of a smartphone for kids until a certain age. I think it's always a good thing, and I think that's picking up steam and popularity. But you have to realize, we live in a digital world now, so teaching them just the same etiquette as you do on the playground is now just as important with teaching them how you correspond with people on the internet. It's just, it is their new playground, which sounds terrible.
We didn't have to learn it. We didn't have to learn this because we didn't get there until college age, and I feel like we were a little more developed. But if I had been given this as a 10-year-old, another thing that they address is well-being, and that's not something I even thought about. I did think about it, but I didn't think about it for my 8-year-old. So how do they feel if they're going on to these things and seeing someone else, they may have this and that in their life and pictures of this and that, and how does that make you feel? You're in someone's home on Kids Messenger, not even considering Instagram and all of that once they go down there. But so you talk about envy and all those things, that the grass is greener, all the things grown-ups have to do. I feel it sometimes, so kids have to feel that. So how can we keep them healthy, digitally healthy,
during this time? Well, Jennifer, I think what you and I are doing here on Good Things is the first step. I think parents just need to start talking about it, swapping tips, being open, sharing, their stories of how they've had to, approach things or what worked or what didn't work, and just sort of, bringing it into the conversation like you do everything else with parenting within a good friendship circle for sure. But I appreciate your time here on Good Things.
Yes, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
And if you do have a child that's on Facebook Messenger specifically, you can look up Child Safety Hub and find all the information there to keep your kids safe. But stick with us. We've got more for you.